All right, good morning, everyone. Time now coming up on 7:07, and we are streaming live to the 10 News and Weather apps, WSLS.com, to our Roku streaming platforms, YouTube, you name it. We're on there with this Weather Authority Alert Day update. Thankfully, nothing immediate right now, but we do want to talk you through kind of what we're expecting here as we go through the next day or so. And so this alert day is in effect because there's the potential for a line or a cluster of strong to severe thunderstorms, and that would mostly be tonight into the very early morning hours on Thursday. This would move in from west to east. Now, here's what we're tracking right now. And you see that there's a lot of these individual clusters that we're tracking pretty close to us. This is on the Kentucky, Tennessee, and Kentucky, Virginia border. I'll bring you into the home view here real quick, just because we do have a few showers out there right now. Most of these are in the highlands. They're non-severe. They're not causing any damage or anything like that, but you see one shower toward Covington, another just to the south of Beckley in West Virginia. I'll keep moving you farther to the west. We did have a couple storms move through Buchanan County, Pike County, Kentucky. There's Buchanan County in Virginia, where you'd have places like Hurley and Grundy, if you've heard of those towns before. But as it's moving into some cooler air in the mountains, it's weakening a little bit. So there's at least some good news there. Also, if you're just watching, we did send out a recorded update to the weather app walking you through the timing of some of these storms. But we'll have to watch. Here's what I'm going to do. Before we get into this explanation, I'm going to pause the radar loop here. And what we're going to have to do is watch out for some of these boundaries that we see, and they're called outflow boundaries. I'll kind of point them out to you, and you see this line right about there. So talking about these outflow boundaries, what exactly does that mean? Storms are like us. They breathe in, they breathe out. And so when they breathe out, that is your outflow. Okay, so let's go ahead and check that out here, and you can kind of see how storms release that kind of boundary. And what it does is it forms a new place for future storms to develop. So as these storms, they breathe in, they breathe out, they kind of collapse a little bit. They leave behind these almost mini cold fronts for other storms to then develop from there. So that's what we're going to watch heading into the afternoon, and especially heading into tonight. So our showers and storms this morning, they are very, very isolated. It's mild and muggy, though. Upper 60s, lower 70s by 8 o'clock this morning. Upper 70s, lower 80s by noon. Most of us are in the 80s by the afternoon, and that's kind of the warmth that these storms have the potential to feed off of. So high temperatures today, they're mostly going to be well into the 80s. So here's Future Tracker, and it's showing these clusters of storms off toward the west that are mostly weakening. They're mostly non-severe. Could see a few showers and storms south of the Roanoke Valley by lunchtime, also into the afternoon. But most of those, again, would be in the southern half of the area. They'd be pretty scattered. This is the main event we're going to have to watch out for, and it's really centered toward Middle Tennessee. That's where I think we see the best chance of severe weather essentially breaking out. Okay, I don't expect an outbreak of severe weather here, but scattered strong storms overnight are going to be a possibility on the northern flank of this cluster. And we'll go through this again here within the next 10 minutes, but you can see that moving from west to east during the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. And then as we head into tomorrow afternoon, here's what we're tracking. Okay, so the Storm Prediction Center has the eastern half of our area in this slight risk for severe weather. Personally, I think this risk should be pushed farther to the east. Reason why I mention that is I think that whatever we see tonight into tomorrow morning is going to suck up a lot of the energy in the atmosphere and leave us sort of high and dry by tomorrow afternoon. So by tomorrow afternoon, I could see some isolated activity, but I don't think it's enough to really warrant that slight risk that they have in the yellow. But here's what you should do ahead of any potential storms tonight. Again, keep in mind, I'm not forecasting an outbreak, but if we do have warnings, you'll want a way to get them. Make sure you download our weather app. You look up WSLS 10 weather in your phone's app store, or if you're watching this on a laptop or an iPad, take your phone, camera, and you scan that QR code. Make sure you have the alerts, the notifications turned on. That way, in the event of a warning tonight, you can be woken up. I am not telling you to stay up all night and freak out, right? But make sure that you have a way to get weather warnings just in case. Here's the good news. you're not going to be getting weather warnings as we head into the weekend. Reason being is we're taking the humidity out of the equation. So Mother's Day weekend looking like this. We'll turn cooler Friday. Saturday could have a few showers, especially heading into the evening, but we'll be on the west side of that very weak system by Mother's Day. So I think we're mainly dry on Mother's Day. So at least some good news as we get ready to celebrate the local moms out there. Let's kind of backtrack a little bit. If you're just joining us right now, it is 7:12 in the morning and we are streaming live on the 10 News app here. So let's go ahead and kind of erase what we've done there and take it back to square one. We have this Weather Authority alert day in effect, especially for tonight into early tomorrow morning, because you can see right now there's really not much to write home about. You got a few showers out there in Allegheny County. There's not even any thunder or lightning with that, but that's just to the south of I-64. Kind of back up the view a little bit and you can see the storms that were in Buchanan County, not Buchanan in Botetourt County, but Buchanan County in far southwest Virginia. And just an hour ago, this storm had a lot of lightning. Now it's moving into some of the cooler air in the higher elevations of West Virginia, and it's starting to weaken a little bit. So there's at least some good news there. But we do have more storms out toward areas like Bowling Green, Kentucky. Those are pretty honking right on the Kentucky-Virginia border. But here's what I'm going to draw once again. Okay, I'm going to take this red kind of pencil and highlight something that you see right here. You see that line out ahead of those showers and storms? This is something that we call outflow, and I'm going to explain why that matters to the forecast here as we go through the next several hours. So storms are like us. They breathe in and they breathe out. And when they breathe out, this is what we call outflow. And so it's literally the air that's flowing out from the storm. And it cools things down, and maybe initially it'll weaken the storm, but it leaves behind a new boundary. Essentially, it's like a mini cold front. And so what that does is it initiates new storms. Okay, so that's something we'll have to watch heading into the afternoon, but especially as we head into the overnight hours. Now this morning, yeah, maybe a couple showers here and there. Otherwise, the morning commute is pretty smooth. We'll have to watch for a few stray storms south of the Roanoke Valley heading into the peak afternoon hours, at which point temperatures will mostly be in the 80s. It will be mostly cloudy, but will mostly be in the 80s this afternoon. So let's kind of see how those outflow boundaries pan out, and you can kind of see how that goes here with future trackers. So here is earlier this morning, and you see some of these clusters weakening, but there you see a storm trying to come south of the Roanoke Valley this afternoon, feeding off of some of those outflow boundaries, right? Now let's head into tonight. That's when I think we see the main event. And if you're just joining us here at 7:14, I want to emphasize that I think the better chance of a severe weather outbreak this evening is going to be across parts of Tennessee, Middle Tennessee and East Tennessee. That's where I think you see the best chance of a severe weather outbreak. Here at home, I don't think it's necessarily going to be an outbreak. I don't think every single town, every single city sees severe thunderstorms. What I do think we see is the chance for some scattered wind damage, some maybe isolated hail or isolated flooding. It's still worth your attention, especially because it's happening at night after about 10 o'clock. And that'll carry over up until about 4 or 5 a.m. on Thursday. But you see how the latest data is showing the strongest activity, the more widespread activity is likely to the south, whereas we here at home see some scattered strong storms up until early tomorrow morning. This is something else I explained. I kind of disagree here with the Storm Prediction Center in Norman, Oklahoma. They have us in this heightened risk for severe weather tomorrow afternoon. I think it needs to be pushed a little bit farther to the east. Reason being is because the overnight showers, storms, and clouds that we see may actually gobble up some of the energy in the atmosphere that's needed for more widespread storms. So I think we could still see some isolated storms tomorrow afternoon. I think most of those would be east of the Roanoke Valley. I agree with that, but I do think the risk for anything severe needs to be pushed a little bit farther to the east. So we just have a little more time on these live streams to explain our thought process. So kind of figured we would share that with you. So again, if you're just joining us, I think it's important that you have multiple ways to get warnings. Just in case one is issued for where you are, you're going to want to know. You're not going to want to be caught asleep. It's not me telling you to stay awake all night, okay? Just make sure you have our weather app downloaded if you don't already. If you're watching on a tablet, on a computer, or on a TV screen right now, take your phone's camera and scan that QR code that you see. That's going to take you to the download app or the download site for our weather app. So that's step number one. Step number two, make sure you have alerts and notifications turned on, again, just in case you need to be woken up in the middle of the night. And if there are warnings overnight, you can watch us either on TV or we'll be streaming live like what we're doing right now. We'll send you an alert, and that way you guys can be in the know just in case any storms get strong or severe tonight into tomorrow morning. Now, even after these storms tomorrow morning, it's going to be pretty muggy out there. Highs 80 to 85. Humidity levels are still going to be kind of up there. Not like July or August levels, but they'll be a little sticky. But Friday and Saturday, not so much. So that's at least some good news as we head into yet another holiday weekend. So there is some good news to be had here. It's not all doom and gloom, but do need you guys to be weather aware as we head especially into the nighttime hours. Time now 7:17. We've got a live update during the Today Show coming up at 7:26, so I'm going to have to skedaddle to get ready for that. In the meantime, if you are just joining us, I'm going to leave you with kind of the nuts and bolts to our Weather Authority Alert Day right there. Have a great Wednesday. Stay weather aware, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.